Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So tonight we're going to talk about talking about cops. You know, in that last video, there were a whole lot of comments in the comment section, and they weren't all nice about cops, and that's fine. That's fine. They're slogans. Okay. For those that don't know, ACAB, that's all cops are people whose parents weren't married. And that can also be signified as 1312. But it's a slogan. Now, the philosophy behind that slogan is that all cops are bad because either A, they, of their own free will, chose a profession in which they agree to enforce unjust laws. Therefore, all cops are bad because they will enforce unjust laws. All right. The other reasoning behind it is that maybe there are some good cops out there, but if they don't say anything about the bad cops, they're complicit, therefore they're bad. We don't have many coming forward. We know there's a bunch of bad cops, therefore they're all bad. Philosophically, ideologically, it's very hard to make an argument against those two trains of thought. I mean, they're pretty solid. But just because they're solid doesn't mean they're the arguments you should be using. Now, I'm not saying don't use slogans. Slogans serve a purpose. They energize the base. They do. Those people who are already in tune with that idea, when they see that, they know they see an ally. You know? So it makes sense to throw them up every once in a while. However, those slogans work both ways. MAGA. Now, if you're a racist, or somebody who doesn't realize that almost everybody around you is a racist, you're like, yeah, build the wall, build the wall. All right. If you're not, what was your reaction? Yeah, that slogan energizes the base. But what was your reaction if you're not part of that? Automatically on the defensive. Automatically. I don't have to listen to anything this idiot says. Right? And maybe that's a sound theory. But that works with all slogans. So when somebody sees that, they automatically discount everything you say. Now, I know a lot of you are not actually reaching out to cops because on an ideological level, they're all bad. But there's the way things should be and the way they are. And the way they are, the cops are around. So maybe we should focus on harm reduction, at least a little bit. And when you're doing that, those slogans don't come in handy at all. They really don't. They present many problems because they turn the listener off. They're not going to listen to you. Most people need a little self-interest to really get interested in something, to really kind of start to question anything they hold dear. They need some kind of self-interest. So give it to them. Give it to them. The drug war is without a doubt the focal point of our problems with law enforcement in this country. The drug war has led to police militarization. It has led to a lot of things that go very, very badly, that have changed cops from peace officers into what a majority of people see in the United States as the enemy. And right now somebody's like, the majority don't see that. We'll get to the stats in a minute. But let's just start off with, so the drug war. Most cops killed in the line of duty are killed because of the drug war. That's fact. Objective fact. So, officer, how do you feel about the fact that your friends are dying so some politician can make money in his private prison? All of a sudden there's that self-interest. They may feel they're being duped. Now, the fact is, the drug war is an utter failure on every level. In the last month, 9.4% of the population of the U.S. has used illegal drugs. It's 1 out of 10 people, right off the bat, see you as the enemy. See a cop as the enemy. Because you are. You are. 40% of high school seniors have used drugs. It's half the population almost. 52% of Americans have. The majority of Americans see you as the enemy. Because, well, you're out to arrest them. And most of these people aren't doing anything wrong. They're not hurting anybody. So, you've got death, you've got assault, you have all this risk in your job because of this drug war. But you have to do it, right? You're protecting people. Well, what happens in countries that decriminalize, liberalize completely? Portugal is a perfect example because they decriminalized everything. Not just pot, everything. Heroin, whatever. I think it's anything under a 10-day supply. What happened in that country? That started in 2001. Prevalence of drug use, it's down. Continuing drug use, down. Death from drug use, down. HIV infection among intravenous drug users, down. Literally everything. Everything is down. So, not just are officers dying for for some politician to make money in his private prison or his urinalysis testing company. They're dying over something that's in vain. Not waging the drug war is more effective than waging it if you actually believe in harm reduction. It's crazy. It's crazy. Now, the other thing you can talk about is the image, because cops in general love their image. They love it because they're mostly in an echo chamber. Most cops hang out with other cops. Why? Because half the population views them as the enemy. So they hang out with other cops and they see themselves as the thin blue line, the protectors. And that's what people, that's what they believe other people see. They don't realize that a majority of the population sees their drug raids as very Gestapo-esque. They don't realize that at some point the drug war will end. And as cool as they think they look right now, they're going to look like those idiots busting up barrels of whiskey. That image may be more important than anything. And then maybe another one is something that strikes to the heart of cop culture. Most of them see themselves as true patriots. True patriots. And you see it all the time when you see that thin blue line sticker next to the 3% logo. Well, I won't enforce an unjust gun law. Really? Really? You won't confiscate guns when the time comes. How many guns have you taken off people? Is there a gun law out of the hundreds on the books that you won't enforce? Looks like you sold your principles for that paycheck. And because you're caught in that echo chamber. That's how it happens. It's how people end up just following orders. The drug war and gun control are probably the two best ways to reach out to cops and explain that what they are now isn't what they think they are, isn't what they pride themselves on being. I'm lucky. I live out in an area where most cops around here still go by the spirit of the law, not the letter of it. So I don't deal with a lot of this stuff in my everyday life. Cops around here, cops in this area in general, know when to kind of, well, that's the Carter boys, you know, and just kind of let it go. If there's no harm, there's no crime. If there's no victim, there's no crime. And we still get that down here. But there's a lot of places that that doesn't exist. So if you're trying to reach out, maybe the FTP and ACAB, not the way to go. Now, if you're just looking to energize the base, more power to you. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good night.